Marvel's Phase 4 is officially, well, technically over. We still got Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special left, but in terms of the movies and the shows, it's now over. So now it's time to rank them. We'll go ahead and start with the movies. First, we got 7 of them, and in 7th place, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Black Widow. This was the first movie of Phase 4, and we were kinda excited because it's like, oh, it's Black Widow, but wait, I thought she died. But no, it's a prequel, and that's the thing with prequels, that there's really no stakes there because we know that she's gonna pass away. We know what's gonna happen, so it's really hard to get us exciting. And a lot of people were pissed off about Taskmaster, and I get where people were coming from, because I was like, okay, why are people so pissed? And I'm like, well, I mean, it just shows that you just sidetrack this villain, and the rest is just, I think what pulled people through with this movie is just the character of Yelena. I think that's what just got people through this movie, because she was the standout, honestly. On my number 6 slot, I'm gonna give it to Eternals. I was actually more excited for Eternals because some characters that I don't know about, I wanna see what this is all about. It's been a while. I like it when it's a group of characters together. This movie just felt like it was just a lot of going back and forth between present time and flashback. At the end, it just felt like a giant checklist was made to see, okay, what kind of ethnicities and backgrounds we gotta check off, so that way Marvel can say, yeah, y'all, we did it. Number 5 is gonna go to Shang-Chi. I think what got a lot of our attention was the fact that it had to do with martial arts, and it's not something new. We've seen it countless times, but it's technically new in terms of what we've seen in the MCU. And I think that's probably the most positive things that I have to say about the movie, is just the action scenes, the choreography. That's probably what got me through most of the film. There was some interesting narrative moments, but then it had this moment towards the end, towards the second half, where it just kind of dies out, and we have to stop everything from what we were going through in the plot and just to have some exposition, downtime for some touchy moments. And let's be real, it was to sell this freaking toy right here. Number 4 is gonna go to Thor, Love and Thunder. After Thor Ragnarok, we knew that Thor was just going a different direction. Taika Waititi was even saying, yeah, this is a movie like you've never seen before. And I gotta say, he wasn't lying. He wasn't playing. I mean, we kind of got a feel of it in Ragnarok, but Love and Thunder, he just dialed it up to 11. We just didn't know how to describe this film. It's like we wanted to love it, but something just held us back. All right, number 3, Doctor Strange. I was actually really excited for Doctor Strange because Sam Raimi was coming back to it, but it left me a bit disappointed. I was expecting for this movie to take me through all these worlds, through all these different dimensions, and it kind of did in a way, but not as much as I thought it would be. Yes, I was hyped to see Professor X and a bunch of other people that were part of this Illuminati, but I was just expecting more than that. I think that was the only satisfaction. America Chavez did nothing for me. I really didn't care about this character. I don't even see the point of introducing her. But yet again, I understand Marvel is doing this where they're gonna introduce a new character in a big movie to kind of get us to know who they are before their show or some other movie comes out. And honestly, I think Wanda just stole the show from this movie. This is more of Wanda's movie. This shouldn't even be called Doctor Strange. This was WandaVision 2.0 or WandaVision continued. Number 2 is gonna go to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I think we've all seen it by now, well, the majority. We all know how much of an impact this movie made, how much of a nice tribute it is to Chadwick Boseman. But we gotta admit, there was some flaws. Riri Williams is just another character that's just forced in here, trying to force it down our throats because she has a series coming up. I was really excited to see Namor, and even though I understood Namor's motives, I really thought it through, but I don't think, after I thought about it, after my review, I was like, okay, I don't think his motives are clear. I think it's something that they could have just explored a little bit more. But in the end, I like the fact that Marvel toned it down in this movie, toned the comedy down, and really got us down to business. And I think a lot of movies should be this way. I think Marvel should go back to that. And like I said in my review, this movie just doesn't feel like it belongs in Phase 4, because in a good way, because this movie is just so much better. It is one of the top movies. I think Phase 4 just, we all know it's trash. And at number 1, I know I have a bias and I don't care. I'm gonna give it to Spider-Man No Way Home. Does it have some flaws? Yes, it does. But I don't think I've had as much fun in a while in a movie theater as I did with this movie. And a lot of that has to do with the hype, the marketing, all the rumors, all the gossip, all the leaked stuff that happened for like the past year and a half before the movie actually came out.
I heard about it, and I did see it, and it's a Photoshop.
all the audience reactions. If you went to a movie theater either on opening day or the day before an early screening, that you know what happened. You saw all those videos everywhere before the actual premiere. And I think the movie is just a perfect example of how you can use nostalgia and how to make it work. And I'll admit, not everything worked. There was some characters, mainly some of the villains like Lizard, that was just kind of thrown in there to check the list off. They didn't really have a lot of presence as opposed to Doc Ock or Jamie Foxx's Electro. I think was probably the standout when it came to the villains. Well, other than Norman Osborn, of course. And yes, these villains don't have the same presence in terms of the same tone that they had in their Sam Raimi movies. They are different because it is the MCU. So I will say that was kind of a negative for me, but it didn't kill the movie for me. Alright, so moving on to the TV shows, I'm not gonna rank the special presentations just because there's only like 2 or 3 of them, and I don't think it's fair to really put them on the list with TV shows because they only have technically 1 episode as opposed to the rest. Alright, so number 8, let's get this garbage out of the way. Miss Marvel. From the trailer, from the teasers, I knew this was gonna be bad. I knew this was gonna be trash. You know what? In a way, I'm glad this got review bombed when the series first came out, because not because of what they were saying, it's not against the ethnicities, not against the race or the cultural background, none of that. I actually thought they did that really well. I'm just saying the quality of the show wasn't good, but it's not nothing to do with, oh, because it's a female or she's Middle Eastern, none of that crap. I know some people are gonna be saying, whoa, this show was morally focused to teenagers, and I'm like, no, the show was just bad people, let's just face it. Number 7 is gonna go to She-Hulk. This show had too many episodes. Every episode seemed like it was just dedicated for a special cameo, and it was just taken away from the spotlight of She-Hulk. And then I know there's gonna be people defending the show saying, whoa, the last episode addressed it. It was being self-aware and blah blah blah, but still, it doesn't matter. The show is just terrible. I don't think it's an excuse just because the show was self-aware and addressed what they were doing at the end. That's not an excuse to let them have a pass for what they did. The only good thing out of this show was Daredevil. I think the chemistry between him and She-Hulk in terms of the actors and everything was just great. I think they just bounce off each other really well. Number 6, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Moon Knight. Moon Knight, I was actually curious to who this character was because I have no idea. I've heard a lot about it. I heard it was like Marvel's Batman and with schizophrenia, or well, not schizophrenia, some sort of identity disorder. I forgot the name, but pretty much I was like, okay, I want to see what this is about because I love Batman, so I want to see what Marvel came up with to kind of BS their way through and create something like that. And I was down with the first episode. I was like, okay, why is he having these episodes? Why is he passing out and appearing somewhere else? That got me curious. This show, the first episode, did its thing. Then throughout the series, it just lost me. I really didn't care about this whole mythology. They were just throwing too much mythology, all these terms, all these backstories. It just lost me. I didn't care. I just wanted to know more about Stephen Grant and Mark Spector, and forgot what the other guy is. It wasn't until the last episode where it revealed the big reveal, and I was like, okay, this is what I wanted. But it took me through pointless stories, pointless adventures to get here. It just lost me throughout the way, and I would only say the first and the last episode is probably the only thing that I like. Number 5, I'm gonna give it to What If. What If is one of those shows where I really like the animation, even though I mean, there's probably better animation, but the style of it that I really like. I think what pulled me through this show is literally, the title says it itself, What If, and they're taking all these storylines from past movies and giving you a perspective of what would happen if certain things did not go that way, if one little certain event can change everything. And that's what really pulled me into the show. There's some storylines that I enjoyed, some honestly just put me to sleep. Number 4, I'm gonna give it to Hawkeye. Hawkeye is one of these shows where you want to watch at home during the holidays. It makes you feel like you're at home. And this is the type of show where I was expecting more of Marvel to do with these characters that they're giving a show, because it just feels a lot more grounded. Of course, you could tell it didn't have as high of a budget as other shows, but it really didn't matter. To me, it was pretty balanced out in terms of how much time each character got, and surprisingly, this almost didn't feel like a Hawkeye show in terms of Clint Barton. I mean, that's what I thought it was going to be about, but then if you've seen it, then you know Hawkeye is just mainly referring more towards Kate Bishop's character. And even though there were quite a few supporting characters and other, you could say, cameos that were in here, and returning characters like the Kingpin, I don't think it didn't really feel as forced. They actually had something to do here. And they tied it in with the plot in a way that it made sense. Number 3, I'm going to give it to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What I really liked about this is it has that government / espionage tone to it, and I knew that I liked this tone with a Marvel movie because of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I think is an underrated film. I think it deserves a lot more credit, and it's honestly up there on my list with the top Marvel movies. I was glad to see Falcon back, I was glad to see Bucky back, and them together was just a good pair. They have good chemistry. I appreciated the fact that they weren't really getting along at first. They're bickering back and forth because they have two different beliefs now that Cap was gone, and then we have this other guy taking up the mantle of Captain America. In a way, it's kind of hard to pick sides, but you love them both. I guess the one main negative thing that I have with this show is the villain. This girl was just annoying. I think they could have just explored her motives a little bit more. But other than that, it was a show that I actually went and revisited twice. Alright, so before I mention my last two, I gotta say this was a hard decision to put who was going to be my number 2 and my number 1, and if you know, you probably can already guess the 2 remaining shows. And I think what helped me decide was the experience that I had week by week. And as hard as it was, number 2, I'm going to give it to Loki. Loki's obviously had a really high budget, so they were able to do a lot of things, and which I really appreciated. You visit a lot of different worlds, you really deep dive into Loki's character like we've never seen before. The show kept you guessing, kept you wondering what this was all about throughout the whole way. Tom Hiddleston with Owen Wilson just clicked together. If you've seen like how they are behind the scenes, you could tell it's like no wonder they act so well with each other. I really don't have a lot of negative things to say about the show other than the direction they wanted to take with the character of Loki. It was a different tone, let's be real. It's kind of like Thor. They made it more funny. Loki, they kind of wanted to add a little bit more humor with him as well. Not as goofy, obviously. And the fact that Disney needed to shoehorn the fact that he was bi or whatever, and because I was just so used to big, bad, menacing Loki. But I think I like the side of Loki where even though we see his sensitive side, his sadness, he's still not able to fully change. He's still Loki. Loki remains a Loki. That being said, number 1, I'm gonna give it to WandaVision. Even does it have its flaws? Yes. But WandaVision is a show that kicked things off, and I always remember waiting week by week, just waiting for the next episode to come because I wanted to see. I was always so excited to see what would happen next, and again, just like Loki, it was a show where it kept you guessing. You were wondering, you were trying to put the pieces together. I don't think I've ever watched a show where I was really trying to put pieces together, taking notes and seeing what was going on. Everyone had their theories. Internet was just going crazy. Everyone posting their theories on YouTube, making videos of what they think is gonna happen, who they think is behind everything. It took me by surprise what Marvel decided to do, and especially how they decided to start off. Every episode was based off a show from a different time period, from the 50s, the 60s, 70s, and so on. That little touch of nostalgia worked for me, and every episode we were learning something new, and towards the end, the big reveal. And I think the last episode, it really hit hard, man. I think everyone was talking about Vision's, that one line that Vision said to Wanda. The line seemed so simple, but when I heard it, I was like, ooh, I felt that. All right, that was it. I'm out of breath. I'm thirsty. Felt like I ran through a marathon. That was a lot of things to rate. That being said, I want to know from you, how do you rate the movies? How do you rate the shows? Comment that long list in the comment section below. Please let me know. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep watching this channel and keep watching movies and TV shows.